obviously with pigs, we can do this kind of to them, it doesn't matter. But with dogs, it's a different story.
Agree?
Really? How are we gonna eat them then? Have you ever met a pig before? They're just like mindless. What do you mean you don't like to see that?
No, yeah.
Why?
Getting treated incorrectly, this creates pain and sorrow.
I mean, I would say there's some animals that deserve to be treated like this and some that don't. Like, obviously with pigs, we can do this kind of shit to them, it doesn't matter. But with dogs, it's a different story.
Disagree?
Really? Oh, are you vegetarian or so? No?
Like the right way to treat.
What would that look like?
Oh, you know, utopia.
Utopia? How are we going to eat them then? Like, we can't have a pig utopia and also have bacon exist. Like, those two things can't coexist, right? So...
I mean, I'm a few steps away from being vegan.
Oh, why is that?
I don't agree with the way that the industry, you know.
Yeah, what is it about, like, when you see that kind of thing happen? Like, what is it about the animals that makes you feel that connection to them? So I don't know, have you ever met a pig before? Oh, okay. I feel like if you haven't met any of these farm animals, it's pretty hard to draw a connection with them. Like, when you look at it from the outside, they're just like mindless.
Yeah, when you see life getting, mistreated like this, just everyone can simplify this thing.
There's a few people out here who wouldn't give a fuck about this, to be honest. But yeah, what industries do you think are abusing animals at this scale? Every industry? What about if you're farming for potatoes? You think if you're farming for potatoes, would that industry be involved in slaughtering animals?
No. Oh, I mean like animals.
Like, yeah. So any industry that's producing animals, right? Would you include something like wool in that industry? The whole process of getting wool, would that be included in animal abuse?
Why are they so?
How so?
How so? Cut certain corners to maximize profit.
Yeah, so while they're handling them, there's definitely some horrible things that go on. And at the end of the day, they get killed, right? They don't just like live out their lives, their whole life. They get cut short, eh? Yeah.
What would you say if I bounce that question next to you?
In terms of whether like getting wool is abuse?
Yeah.
I guess it depends on what perspective you look at it from. So you can either look at it from the perspective of someone who gains the benefit. Like if I want a nice woolen jumper or whatever, I wouldn't care about that. But if you look at it from the victim's perspective, then you really get a gauge on truly thinking about what would I want if I was the sheep.
Yeah.
And I think if I looked at it from that perspective, I would not want to be the sheep at all. Or would you say that you're against animal abuse yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Cool. So if you know which industries are abusing animals and you say that you're against animal abuse, what do you think you could do personally about it in your day-to-day life if you no longer wanted to support industries that abuse animals?
Educate myself.
Okay, yeah. It's difficult to garner what actually attributes to animal abuse, right? Sometimes people can find that to be absolutely ethically okay, and then you explain the very fine details to them, even the standard legal practices of what happens, and then they're just like, that's horrible, you know? So yeah, that education is important. Is there any lifestyle that aligns with a lifestyle that doesn't abuse animals that you know about? No? A lifestyle that just avoids animal products because they're against animal abuse?
Say, for example, if I were to try to a lifestyle where I can say that is good, that is bad, gain the knowledge,
Make your best decision. Yeah.
encourage others if they're willing.
Do you know of anyone who's like kind of living that lifestyle at the moment? Or?
Yeah, a good friend of mine.
Oh, really? Is he like vegetarian or something? He's vegan. Oh, okay. Yeah. Has he talked to you about it or anything like?
Yeah, he loves it.
Yeah.
Morally, he feels very pleased with how he chooses it.
Yeah. I think there could be nothing better than to know that you're not contributing to the suffering of innocent animals like that, eh? Yeah. So yeah, since we know that pretty much what we've discussed is that if we want to live a lifestyle that doesn't abuse animals, and we know which industries are abusing animals, it's just avoiding those products. Pretty simple, eh? The only way that we can get to that point is by living a lifestyle that avoids the products, obviously. The only lifestyle that aligns with that decision is a vegan lifestyle, which I kind of leaned onto with the conversation. So what do you think is stopping you from living a lifestyle that doesn't abuse animals and adopting that vegan lifestyle that you mentioned?
I would say convenience and lack of effort.
Yeah. Thanks for being honest, man. That's real cool. I really appreciate like just talking to honest people, because there could be a lot of different things that you could say to me, to be honest. So
I try to be honest myself, just so I can know that I'm not inherently lying to myself when I am doing like that.
I don't know if you know about cognitive dissonance, but it leads into that area.
Yeah.
That is probably it's the most painful thing to go through. Absolutely, it's horrible.
What was your name, sir?
Michael.
Jordan.
Jordan.
Yeah,
nice to meet you, man. Yeah, so basically what I'm promoting here is animal rights.
Yeah.
And the only way that we can give animals rights is to live a lifestyle that boycotts industries that abuse them. So yeah, I'm just promoting a vegan lifestyle, basically. Yeah.
How long have you been vegan?
3 years now, almost. Yeah, somewhere in like April or something, maybe 3 years.
What was your
Yeah.
turning point where you decided? Was it a immediate change or was it a gradual?
Bit of both. So I went plant-based for 2 weeks because I had a really bad relationship with food and counting macros for the gym.
Yeah.
Terrible. Like I would drink cow's milk even though I'm lactose intolerant because I needed the protein kind of thing. And like every single day my stomach was on fire, bro. And I was trying to eat like 220 grams of protein. So like ridiculous amount of chicken breast and stuff like that. I looked all right, but I felt horrible. So I saw these plant-based guys who just eat whole food plant-based and they're fucking jacked. And I was like, I want to be like that. I want to be like that, right? And then, yeah, I considered, well, once I was plant-based, it was a lot easier for me to consider the ethical decision. I watched a documentary called Dominion, which is what we're showing here. And yeah, man, that shook me, bro.
Yeah.
Even though like I'm a chef, so when I was working at Sky City, I used to work with like animal products, or like I would cook hundreds of steaks a day, countless. And I even went to a slaughterhouse when we were at our apprenticeship. Didn't faze me one bit. And then I watched this with that kind of context around it.
Approach it with the perspective of
Yeah, the victim's perspective, basically. And yeah, when I watched that, I felt a greater connection to when I actually witnessed animals dying. It was, and when I came to that realization, I was like, holy shit, like I've watched animals die right in front of me and I felt nothing. And now that I'm watching it for the first time in, I guess, like a new light, it really shook me and it was wild. Like the next day when I went to the grocery store, I looked at the meat section, I felt sick to my stomach. And I was like, how? Like I was the biggest meat eater and my friends are all surprised about it. And they're just like, how did this happen to you? It's pretty funny.
kind of switched from awareness and like the same.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think you're going to do moving on from this conversation? Do you think you would continue to live a lifestyle that supports those industries that abuse animals, or think about adopting a vegan lifestyle?
I've definitely been considering it.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about cutting out pork.
Yeah.
One thing that I remember hearing one time, you would look at someone quite odd, they were still drinking breast milk from their mouth.
Yeah.
Drinking the breast milk from an animal.
A different animal.
Kind of,
Like, it's pretty fun. Like,
that, yeah.
when you tell someone if it's a different animal, like, if I told you, bro, if you want the biggest gains, you got to drink, like, camel's milk or something. Like, you'd be like, yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
Unfortunately, though, like, quite a lot of people are willing to do what they can to benefit themselves, and it's a very singular mindset. Definitely in this day and age, it is encouraged to think about yourself and get yourself ahead.
Yeah, I think that's quite a short-term mentality. Like, if you think about evolutionarily, the most successful species of animals are usually herbivores. Carnivores are always starving, always suffering, but herbivores always live in a herd, you know? But yeah, I think quality of life, I feel like evolutionarily we are drawn to help each other, like because it's in everyone's best interest to help each other because we benefit from it.
We're social creatures.
Yeah. And if we try to go against that, we suffer ourselves. Like if you try to be selfish, you're only going to bring harm to yourself. But if you try to be selfless, you bring all the benefit. It's like this opposite axis that we go through. Yeah. But it's really interesting. But thank you so much for having a conversation with me, man. I just want to let you know I do record these conversations and put them on my YouTube channel because I really like to show how I use this kind of reverse psychology. So I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah, that's sweet.
I'm so thankful that like I knew like as soon as you answered the questions that I asked you, like super honest and really open, and that's exactly what I look for. So this has been so great, man. I wish you the best, man. Thank you so much.
What was your name again, sorry?
Michael.
Michael.
And yours?
Jordan.
Jordan. So yeah, man.
Your YouTube channel.
Oh, it's called The Victim's Perspective.
Victim's Perspective.
Yeah, that's why I've been mentioning that a lot. I like drop those.
Breadcrumbs.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. So maybe you should hit up your friend about this.
I had a friend of mine, he recommended a BBC documentary. Set in the future, and it was about all the young people that had like rehab support groups about meat eaters. Like a comedy. I quite a funny flip on it.
Man, if you imagine, if we progressed as a society to a point where we look at people who eat pigs in the same way as people who eat dogs in Western culture, imagine looking back on the people who were doing that and you're just like, oh my god, you're such a horrible person, blah blah blah. But it's,
that was the concept of it.
yeah, I guess it would be following that.
Loving that you've ever heading off that way.
Yeah, brother.
On the
Put
way
it there, man. Thank you so much for having the conversation with me, Jordan. Thanks, man.
I'll give you a sub, yeah?
Oh, sure, brother. Thank you. Have a good one.
Specific to outreach, I think the biggest mistake that I made at the start was putting a massive weight on my shoulders, thinking like, shit, I have to convince this person to go vegan, otherwise I've failed the outreach conversation. And that's totally not true. Outreach is all about being there for the people who are ready to change. You don't have any control over whether that person is ready or not. You can control what you say, but you cannot control their state of mind. So I think the first bit of advice that I give to people who are starting outreach specifically is just listen to people. Just ask them what they think and just listen. And don't put any pressure on yourself to say the right things or whatever like that. Genuinely learn to listen and engage and get people to share what they feel and what they think. Because you've let the other person have a space to speak, they will do the same for you.
Yeah, that's good advice.
Yeah, great advice.